everyone, and welcome to this reading of the latest article that I have published with the Headquarters magazine, which is a book review of The Art of Gathering, a publication that I highly recommend to everyone in the event and meeting sector and to everyone in the general audience as well, since we all as humans are constantly gathering, and this book can help us understand how we can organize and host gathering in a meaningful and purposeful way. So the book review is called Artisans of Meetings, Reflections from Priya Parker's The Art of Gathering, and you will be able to find it on pages 36 and 37 of the latest issue of the Headquarters magazine. When we discover the universal meaning behind our day-to-day activities, we can connect our work to a greater good and ultimately move towards our objectives with much more enthusiasm and determination. Virtues which, when strengthened, can have a significant impact on the satisfaction and motivation of the world's current workforce. In this year's final edition of Headquarters, instead of the usual Kenneth Group PCO insights, I will be sharing a few reflections from The Art of Gathering, a 2018 book that found its place on my bedside table during my exploration of the meetings sector's higher purpose. The author, Priya Parker, draws on approximately 140 case studies and examples to illustrate why and how humans gather, providing profound inspiration for us as event organizers to guide the meeting process and create meaningful experiences. A category, networking, or celebration is not a purpose. Priya Parker invites us to create meetings that take a stand, committing to a specific, singular purpose that is open to questions. She points out that meetings designed to please everyone are rarely exciting ones. She also offers some practical approaches to define the purpose of a gathering. To step back and consider where our meeting fits into the bigger picture. To scrutinize it by questioning each of the initial statements regarding why we want to host this gathering. Don't ask yourself what your country can do for your meeting, but what your meeting can do for your country, Parker exemplifies. To apply reverse engineering from the desired result, starting by considering the expected outcomes of the meeting and working backwards until the purpose becomes clear. Without a genuine purpose, give people their time back and refrain from organizing a gathering. A well-defined purpose serves as a filter. The individuals invited to the event, as well as the venue in which it is held, should embody the purpose. Parker elaborates on the kindness of exclusion for those who will not contribute to achieving the expected outcomes as a gesture of appreciation to the attendees. People who don't fulfill the purpose of the meeting subtract value from it, she writes. The author encourages hosts to reflect upon the following 3 questions to create a purpose-oriented guest list. Who, aside from fitting the meeting's purpose, helps in achieving it? Who jeopardizes the purpose of the meeting? Who is irrelevant to the purpose of the meeting but you feel obliged to invite? This is followed by a thorough discussion about inclusion in the book, where Parker argues that over-inclusion can lead to superficial connections, and she discusses the value that takes precedence in groups of different sizes. For instance, intimacy and exchange are fostered in groups of up to 6 people. An exciting and inclusive conversation takes place in groups of between 8 to 12, with enough diversity of opinions for decision-making. Groups of 30 already create a vibrant, party-like atmosphere. Groups of 150 to 200 resemble a tribe, according to some anthropologists, and anything over that number, she describes it as tides of humanity, tapping into a convulsive energy. Create a temporary alternative world. Regarding the venue, Parker suggests that each location comes with its own script and therefore brings forth a certain version of people. She conveys that logistics are often prioritized over purpose in the choice of a venue. You should, for starters, seek a setting that embodies the reason for your gathering. When a place embodies an idea, it engages a person's body and whole being in the experience and not just their mind, she explains. Other factors like perimeter, area, and density are also considered. The book includes many examples that show how a place can either contribute to a purpose or completely sabotage it. Parker recounts a story that gave rise to the Chateau Principle, a multi-million-dollar deal between US and French telecommunication companies that fell apart after 2 years of amicable discussions when a castle in France replaced the original, more neutral location, upsetting the sense of equity among the organization's leaders. Beyond the venue, Parker elaborates on how pop-up rules that only apply during meetings help transport attendees to a temporary alternative world that only exists while the gathering takes place. She also discusses the significance of physically or metaphorically transporting guests in and out of the meeting through a corridor that will guide them in living an inauthentic version of themselves outside of the experience, and reminds us that the event begins before the official opening, from the moment the invitation is sent out until the guests return to their original worlds. A good controversy, the beginning and the end. Some of the key lessons of this book concern what the author calls the generous authority of the organizers, referring to the host's ability to serve the audience as well as skillfully lead a good argument in favor of the expected outcomes. Don't be a chill host. Chill is selfishness disguised as kindness, is one of the book's section's headings. Another interesting principle she delves into is based on studies showing that event attendees tend to remember the first and the last 5% of the gathering with a much higher level of accuracy and emotional involvement. Parker places a strong emphasis on both the beginning and the end of the meeting, explicitly encouraging hosts to avoid squandering these moments on announcements, logistics, or acknowledgements, and instead connecting them back to the purpose. Gathering when embraced as an art. These stories and experiences compiled by Priya Parker in The Art of Gathering are evidence of her life's work, fully dedicated to embracing the act of meeting as a complex and wholesome expression of a core human need. They are intelligent and humorous illustrations of what happens in society when people are placed at the center of an event rather than the operations and logistics, and what happens when the opposite is the case. While 2023 ends with a lively discussion about the talents that will prevail in the face of the rise of artificial intelligence and other technologies of our era, The Art of Gathering presents a compelling proposition. When embraced as an art form, our work in this niche, which I personally refuse to call an industry, reveals its higher purpose of enabling meaningful connections, creating alternative worlds, elevating conversations, shifting mindsets, and changing outdated structures to give birth to entirely new societies. So that is a book review. As I say, you guys can find it and read it again in the latest issue of the Headquarters magazine. I will finally end by wishing you all a great last 2 months or 1 month and a half of 2023. And again, if you're looking into a meaningful read that will bring new perspectives to your life and to your work as an event organizer, go ahead and check it out. This is not paid publicity, and thanks a lot for making it all the way to the end of this video. If you have any questions or comments about this book and what you have just heard, please comment below or just reach out to me. Bye bye.